All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today it is so cool. I am here with three of our Origin coaches. I've got our head coach, Loretta, I've got Mike, and I've got Dave, all part of our Origin program. Hello, lady and gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Hi, doing good.
Hello. Hi,
That's
guys.
great. Well, look, it's great to have you guys here, and we're going to have a bit of fun. I thought it'd be really cool to break down a lesson each that you guys have learned after starting your own Amazon businesses, and then we'll come back around and talk about a lesson that you've learned after working with Origin coaching clients in our community. So I think people will see how you guys grew your business, and also they'll see some of the challenges that we work through and you guys work through with our coaching clients at Marketplace Superheroes. So with that said, we have to start with Loretta. She's our head coach. No pressure whatsoever. But Loretta, let's talk about one of the big things you've learned in your own business on this journey.
Yeah, for sure. I joined the Marketplace Superheroes basically because you guys promoted going global in the beginning. And one of the biggest mistakes that I did, and what I've learned from, is that I didn't go global from the beginning. So when I launched my business, I launched, quite a number of products in the first year, but launched them all into the US market. Went to boot camp with you guys, came back from that. Had a good talking to from you guys, obviously. So the next year, launched my products into the UK and, practically doubled my business. So when I'm coaching now and, talking with clients, that is one question that they always ask. And it's always, should I go into the US, into the UK? And we've got other markets now that we obviously can go into with Australia and Canada. Yeah. But, I always tell them kind of my story of, I really regretted not going into the UK from the beginning, because you literally can double your business from the start. So.
Yeah, and people might be wondering, like, did you do anything particularly special to do that? Or did you just, you listed it, you translated it, you optimized it, and that's basically what you did, right?
Yeah, basically was doing reorders for those products that I had started selling into the US in the first year. And just when I did my reorders, I launched them into the UK. So if I had to go back, I would, definitely kind of take my own advice now and go global from the beginning. Because it's not any harder. And I think a lot of people think that it's harder to launch into, multiple countries, but we have the backup to do that with, Superhero Office and just, Superhero Freight. We have all the logistics. So it's very easy to do that from the start now. And we help you with it all. So.
Yeah. Well, imagine that if you didn't do it, you wouldn't have doubled your business practically. So that's a big lesson that we can all learn.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Loretta, we'll be back to you in just a second. And we'll move on to Mike then. All right, Mike, give us your big thing you've learned after growing your Amazon business successfully.
Yeah. So for me, it was most definitely getting my ordering structured and consistent throughout the year. And the reason for that is because I just didn't know where I was mentally, financially. Everything was going off left, right, and center in terms of money going out. I just weren't organized at all. And once I kind of got that structured, as in 4 times a year, because the reordering period's 3 months, right? So try and get that done every 3 months. I was just able to plan better. I was just more organized, and not just in a practical sense. It was just like, mentality. I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders when I managed to get that, more organized and structured.
So then practically speaking, what would be a tip you give people to organize themselves? Was it like a spreadsheet you would use, or what would be your recommendation so that things are organized and you can kind of see everything?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I use it with my kind of cash flow forecasting as well. Which is something a little bit different. But sure. I just made sure that every 3 months I had it in there, how much was going out for what products, basically.
So basically, and again, the lesson for everybody watching may not be a big deal when you start, but certainly as you get going and you start to make sales, you start to need to reorder and stuff like that. If you're not monitoring your money coming in, your money going out, like you were saying, you're not keeping an eye on that, things can get out of hand quickly. Whereas when you keep that in order, like now, would you say you found that you stay in stock more easily? Well, what's been the biggest benefit to you doing this?
Yeah, definitely. Staying in stock is a big one. And obviously managing my finances as well. I just feel a lot more organized with everything,
Yeah, that's great. Okay, cool. All right, well then we'll move on to Dave. So Dave, and again, all of you guys, you've all done case studies with me in the past, back when you were fresh-faced members, and obviously Dave, I think you were the last case study that I did. So from your perspective, after growing your business now, you've been traveling while doing this and things like that. I know you're back in one spot now. What have you learned in your business?
Well, I think just going, all the way back to the beginning, the most important thing for me was to find, a community of people that were doing the same thing. I didn't know anything about selling on Amazon when I first started. So the key for me was to find, people that were already successful at the thing I wanted to be successful at, and just kind of modeling their behavior. And this is something that, entrepreneurs like Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn talk about until they're blue in the face. The idea of just trying to, model someone else's behavior to get to where they are currently at and where you ultimately want to be. And I think that's super important. And just also the idea of kind of putting yourself out there. The only reason I am here sitting at this virtual roundtable of assassins is because, I put myself out there. I went out to a seminar to meet you guys. I've been part of Marketplace Superheroes for quite some time, and I want to be in the same room as you, get to know you a little bit better and be around people that were trying to do the same thing I was trying to do. So, that was super important. And that's what led me to, ultimately becoming an Origin coach and being in a very fortunate position, helping other people out who are just getting started as well.
Yeah, that's great. Very cool. Well, they're great lessons. I think what we'll do now is we'll switch gears a little bit, come back to Loretta and talk about, obviously you've grown your business successfully. We've done a couple of case studies with you now. You've been featured elsewhere. It's been great to see your growth over the last few years. But, you've worked with a lot of clients now as well, and you are a head Origin coach. And so you help out in so many ways now. What would you say is the biggest thing you've seen with clients then? Because I think that's a big thing. Like, you guys have done it, but also now you're helping others do it. What was that big lesson that we can share with other people?
Yeah, I think just having patience and just setting, realistic expectations for yourself, right? So you come into the program. I know a lot of people come into the Origin program, and I think they know this is a long-term strategy. And, we really have to kind of keep telling them that this is a long-term strategy, but it's just having that patience. And I think just everything with the whole journey, right? So having patience with learning the process, learning how to research, learning how to launch the product, that can take, anywhere from 6 to 9 months to, launch your first product. So just having that kind of mindset, knowing that it's going to take that long, but then the second product just gets easier. The next product gets easier after that. Patience, just not only as you get into selling your products, right? But patience with, okay, the product's not going to sell 10 on the first day, right? I think a lot of people come into it like, you see posts in the group where the product's after 1 week, and it's like, well, how long have you been selling? Oh, it's been only live for 1 week. It's like, okay, you need to give it some patience, time, let it bed in, right? Run some PPC, learn that process too. I think so. I think just that whole process of just having patience through the whole journey, people just need to really understand that it takes time at every step of the way. So
I think as well, you've got a great perspective, not only because you're experienced in this business, but you've done other businesses that we've talked about in other videos in the past, like more traditional businesses. And like, I think for that perspective, you're talking about, 6 to 9 months is like a timeline to launch your business successfully, have some products rocking and rolling or whatever. Like, I think it's important to go back to, like, in the real world, quote unquote, you could be waiting way longer than that and put in way more money before you see anything back.
Yeah, definitely. I've put in hundreds of thousands of dollars into brick and mortar cafes, and you don't see any profits sometimes for many, many years, right? And there's lots of things, that you have to do to kind of launch that business. So, I've learned this side of things, this business is definitely a lot different, but, same thing. There's patience. You definitely have to have lots of patience, but would
you agree as well? I think this is really true that, like, the people that are the most successful in Marketplace Superheroes are like the people like you who kind of came in early and were like, right, this is a real business. So what do real businesses need? Like, they do need capital. Like, you didn't come into this business trying to like go, hey, how can I start it with like, $500? You know what I mean?
No.
I think that's a common thing we see, right? Like, the most successful people do that.
Yeah, you definitely have to have, some capital, having I definitely, when I had my cafes, like I knew that was not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I was taking capital from that business to put into this Amazon business. And I knew that I needed to keep kind of funding it to be able to make this kind of what I wanted to do. And I got out of the cafe business because I knew that wasn't going to be, for me, a long-term strategy. And just the way the world has gone now, I've been really fortunate to be able to be selling online, learning what I did from you guys, and just being able to, now work with, Marketplace Superheroes as well. Yeah. I look back on it and, I took years and years. I've been doing this for about 5 years now, right? So I look at just the patience of that, right? So when I talk to my clients and, they're always like, well, how can I get, 12 products going? And it's like, you have to have patience, but you also have to have capital, and you have to be, every day working on something that's going to kind of move your business forward. Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight. Yeah. I had a really long-term strategy, and I wanted to get out of, the cafe business, and so put it to work. And it took me a few years, but
here you are. You're now. It's a different world now, right? So that's great.
Definitely.
All right. That's great. Thank you so much. That's great. Yeah. Well, I think we can move on to Mike now. Mike, tell us your big takeaway from working with people at this point.
Yeah, mine's definitely got to be clients not kind of pulling the trigger quick enough. I've had maybe 3 or 4 guys actually recently that are really down and out, and they're just motivation's gone. And the main reason for that is because they've not pulled the trigger. Yeah. And every single one of those guys has regretted not pulling the trigger. And it's kind of those clients that have pulled the trigger that have kind of, got the products out there, learned the lessons, that are just kind of reaping the rewards. Yeah. Because when you don't pull the trigger, you're losing sales time. You're losing sales time. Again, your mindset's just going to go down and down. It's not going to get better by not pulling the trigger. And markets just get really competitive if you just wait.
Yeah, I think it goes for everything in life. At the end of the day, if you don't actually put something in and get going with something, and that can be even if you're looking to get fitter and healthier. Like if you don't put on the running shoes and get out on the road, if that's what you're looking to do, or you don't pick up the weights, you don't get down on the floor and do the push-ups, like you're not going to get any better. It's like Dave was referencing Jim Rohn earlier on, and it's like you can't get other people to do your push-ups for you. So in this way, like what you're saying is like other people can invest on your behalf, and you're going to be successful. So I think that's a good lesson. And so like, what do you tell people that have trouble? When we say pulling the trigger, we mean placing an order, their first order. Like, what do you tell people? What have you learned about that's helped you just do it?
Yeah, I just tell them that, we've been through a process together. We've researched together. We've mapped the markets together. We've looked at the figures together. So we've kind of got rid of as much risk as possible. So there's just no point hesitating there. And you've got a coach there with you, step by step. We've covered everything off. Just, pull the trigger and put your money where your mouth is,
Good lesson. I like it. And I think that's a big thing about you as a person. You're someone, like you've said before, you just go for it. Like, because I've done all the work I can possibly do. And I think that's a great mentality. Be more like Mike, I think, is what we can take away from your story there, Mike. So that's great. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. I think that's a real value to a lot of people. So Dave, maybe last but not least, we have yourself. So let us know what's your big takeaway.
Yeah, after working with dozens and dozens of clients now, I'd say the main thing that we all have to stop doing, and this is something I do myself, is just eliminating all pressure that we put on ourselves. Because I always associate this when people are first getting started. I always associate it with it's kind of like you're learning a new language, and it can be very intimidating. There's so many things you need to learn, but if you're just kind of taking it, one step at a time, you will get to where you want to go eventually. And I think the most important thing there is just kind of setting, smaller, more measurable, achievable goals for yourself, in the sense that, you're not sitting down to try and find that perfect product, right? What you should be doing is just kind of more or less just setting, what I like to say is you should set a timer for yourself. I'm just going to do 60 minutes of research And then, if you do that 60 minutes of research, regardless of whether you find your next product or not, it doesn't matter. You sit down and you did the work, right? Yeah. And regardless if you find something or not, you're still getting the practice in. I was listening to an episode of the Tim Ferriss Show with Jerry Seinfeld, who's someone I have an enormous amount of respect for. And he was talking about his writing process and how he can't sit down and try and write the perfect joke. He just sets a timer and he'll say, I'm going to do 2 hours of writing. And, when it's done, you can go have your milk and cookies. And he did an analogy where he said, imagine you're going to go do a workout with your personal trainer. And you said, oh, how long is the session going to be? And he says, oh, it's open-ended. You'd be like, I'm out of here. There's no way I'm going to do that. So, but if it's like, okay, we'll do 45 minutes of exercise, then okay, we can do that. That's no problem. So yeah, I think that's super important. Just kind of, set achievable goals for yourself. Just put one foot in front of the other every single day, and eventually you'll get there.
I like that. I think Seinfeld also had the calendar, didn't he? And then he used to draw the X every day when he would write a joke. And I think that's the same thing with research. If you can put a calendar up there, little X every day for when you do a bit of work, like you mentioned, I think that's a really cool practical thing that we can all do as well. So I'm going to come back around really quickly and just sweep through, because a lot of people watching are probably saying, are these guys still growing their business? So I'm just going to ask you, what's your what are you working on this year? Is it 2 or 3 new products you're looking to do? Or what's the kind of plan for each of you? So Loretta, what are you looking to do in your own business as well this year?
Yep. I've actually got it written down in my book right here that I've got my goals. I've got 12 products that I want to launch this year. So I've got kind of 2 already kind of landed that I'm just writing listings and stuff for. Another one on ship. And then I've got kind of samples sitting right here that I'm went through over the weekend. So I've got a few more to kind of go through. But yeah, I'm definitely working on launching more and more products. That's the goal, and launching into all 4 countries now. We've got all 4 countries, markets that we can go to. So that's kind of my strategy too, is to get some more products into some of the smaller markets as well. And so
that's great. I love that. Nice one. All right, Mike, what about yourself?
Yeah, for me, it's not as many as Loretta, unfortunately, but I'm going to go for 8 products this year.
All right.
Again, just sticking to that consistent reordering period. I like to order once every 3 months. So I'm going to try order 2 products every 3 months, basically.
And I'm pretty sure as well with you, you had a lot of growth of certain items as well. So you've been keeping those in stock also. So some of your money's been used in the growth of those as well. Am I right in saying that?
Definitely. Yeah.
So that's another reality of the business. As things start to grow, you'll obviously start to fund those in alternative ways, like we talk about as well over time. And that would make a lot of sense. But I mean, you're still growing your business that way also, as well as new products. That's fantastic. So nice one, man. Great. And then Dave, just for yourself.
Mine is actually the exact same as Loretta. I want to launch 12 products this year. The goal of, 1 per month, always just having the research, just kind of always have something at every stage, right? I think that's super important. And so 12 products is my goal for the year. And then also just trying to, outsource other things that I don't really want to spend as much time on. I think that's super important for me as someone who has, multiple jobs or careers at this point. Sure. And, so just kind of knowing where my strengths are and where my weaknesses are, and just trying to, outsource certain things that I don't necessarily want to do, or that other people would certainly be better at. So that's something I'm working on currently as well.
Yeah, I think that's great. I talked about recently, being the orchestra, not being the best violinist in the orchestra, but being the conductor of the orchestra. I think that's a thing that we can all think about, and that's what you're doing, which is important. That's what I do. Robert does. We can't do as many things anymore. You guys can't do as many things anymore. You've got stuff going on, so I think it's really important that we get really good at that. So I love that you're saying that. And for anybody listening, as you're growing a business, they're the kind of things you're going to want to do as well. So I think this has been a great video, guys. I really want to say thank you so much for coming on. People that are watching this video, jump down below, give it a like, and also please give a big shout out to all of our 3 coaches here today. They've been great. They've given their time, and I think that's just huge. So thanks to all of you guys. I really appreciate it. And obviously, if you wanted more information about the Origin program, there's a link down below. You can certainly book in, speak to our team, and we have lots of different coaches. These are 3 of our great coaches. We've got even more. We can't get them all onto a video. We'd be here all day. I'd like to thank you guys for jumping on. It's been really cool.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.